Hello all. Today we are going to talk about laws of motion. So in the first part, I want to discuss what is called forces conceptual summary. Okay. Now you you have learned forces or you have heard of forces from uh, in your junior classes. So let us just recapture the important points. Okay. So the first point we want to make is forces are interaction between objects. Now, when I say this, that forces is interaction between the objects, then it means that whenever we talk about forces, it involves two things. Okay, at least let us start with that this pen is feeling force due to earth. Okay, so when I say that two things are involved, pen and the earth, right? Second point, let us say magnet is attracting iron nail. So again you can see there are two things involved, right? That magnet and the iron. Same way, if you talk about, let us say, uh, friction, that as I move this pen over my hand, I can say that it is experiencing friction. Again, you can see two things are involved, right? Now, pen and this hand. So, in the same way, we can generalize it that whenever we say that forces are uh, interaction between objects, that means minimum two things will be involved. Okay, whenever we say that, you can pick any example you want, but you will find out that always there will be two things involved. Okay, now the second point we want to make is this, that both animate and inanimate objects are capable of applying forces. Now, what I mean by that, this point is this, that if you talk about, let us say, stone, okay, we can say it's inanimate, and let us say we are talking about animal, okay, or let us say human being, so that is animate. So both are capable of applying forces. So any body, okay, will be capable of applying forces. Fine. Now, moving on. Uh, Third point we want to take is that forces, when it acts on a body, it can produce two different effects. So one is called deformation. So deformation it can produce, and it can produce second effect what is called acceleration. Now uh, let us take the example whatever is given. Let us take a rubber band. So if you stretch a rubber band, you can deform it, so you're applying forces to deform it, right? Same way, if you take a spring, you can deform it by applying forces. If you take a piece of paper, by applying forces, those are called shear forces. Okay, we'll talk about it later. So this deformation part is very important, but in your topic we'll again come back. In class 11 we have a topic called elasticity. So we'll deal with force deformation aspect there. Okay, not here. Here we are going to talk about generally about acceleration. So this thing you will learn that uh, this is second law of motion, which says that net force, okay, acting on a body is equal to mass into acceleration, right? So we'll talk about it later, but just so acceleration of a body is given by net force acting on it. I will come back to this net force by m. So if you have force, net force acting is F, then acceleration will be F by m. Now, uh, so this point is taken care, right? Now, the next point we want to make is that forces are vector quantities. So whenever we say vector quantities have magnitude and direction, but you guys now know more that they obey what is called triangle law of vector addition. Okay, now to take an example, let us say we have a object, let us say here, and it is experiencing force. Let us say it is experiencing a force in this direction. Let us write it, let us say F1, and let us say it is experiencing a force in this direction, and we are calling it to be F2. Now any guess which direction it will move? Now, so for that reason, if you can recall, so this is the body. Okay, this is some body which is acted by two forces, let us say simultaneously, and let us put a vector sign over them. Now you can see they are acted by two forces. To find the net force, okay, what we talked in the first this is Newton's second law. Okay, what we have written, that this is Newton's second law. So net force is mass time acceleration. How we calculate net force? We calculate net force by using vector uh, rule, okay, or triangle rule of vector addition. Now what we do to add these two, what we are going to do is we are going to draw two parallel vectors. Let us say this is F1, okay, parallel to F1, and I am drawing one vector parallel to F2. So this is again F2 vector, and this is F1 vector. Okay, so you can see these two arrows represent adjacent side of triangle taken in a order. So the net force, so the net force will be a vector starting from the tail of the first vector to the head of the last vector. So this is going to be the net force. So if this body uh, will move in this direction, okay, in this direction, I can say in the direction of this net force, fine. Now you might recall, in this case angle between F1 F2 is 90. In general case, if angle between F1 and F2 will be theta, then if you can recall, we had a formula to add that. So let us just write that. So this force will be F1 square plus F2 square plus 2F1 F2 cos theta. Now in this case you can find it out that the theta, this angle between F1 F2 is 90 degree, so this term will be 0. Okay, in our case theta is 90 degree or pi by 2. So cos 90 is 0, so your resultant force or the net force will be just F1 square plus F2 square. Okay, now so again let us recall the forces are vector quantity and they obey triangle rule of vector addition. Now coming back, so this point is taken care. Now next point we want to discuss is what you guys have learned, that weight and mass are not the same thing. Okay, so let us talk about weight. Weight is also called weight is also called uh, gravitational force. Okay, so this is also called, we'll just write quickly, gravitational force. In our case, if you talk about earth, so if this is earth, right, and whether the body is in contact with it or it's not contact with it, if you have a mass m, then this earth creates a gravity downward. So we say that g is directed downward. So weight of a body is mass time g. G is nothing but acceleration due to gravity. Now if this is earth, so suppose you go to moon, g will change. Okay, so g will depend which surface of which planet or which celestial body we are talking about, right? Now what happens if you go to very outer space like astronaut and so on, this g changes. Okay, g can be made zero far away from earth, so you will not experience any weight there. But mass is the quantity of matter contained in the body, so mass will be always there. Okay, so weight can change from one planet to another planet, but mass is going to be the stuff which is present in the body, so that is not going to change. Okay, now, so and one more thing, let us put mass is measured in kg and weight is measured in Newton. So actually, I forgot to mention, but forces are measured in Newton in honor of great scientist Isaac Newton. So let us just write it here that forces are measured in Newton. Okay, and moving on. Now, now, what happens in this uh, so the next point we want to make is that we are going to encounter some very common forces, like let us start with let us say spring force. Okay, so we'll encounter spring force, and let us just talk about it a bit. So let us say we have a spring. Okay, so let us say this is a wall and there is a spring here. Now, when the spring is not compressed or stretched, it is said to be natural length. Okay, so let us say this is the natural length of the spring. Okay, let us say uh, this length is the natural length of the spring. Okay, so this is natural length. Now, when you stretch the spring, so what is going to happen? Let us say we stretch the spring by applying force, and let us say we stretch it by this amount. Okay, and that we are going to write it, let us say uh, x. So it turns out, see, if this spring will be pulled, let us say by you or anyone in this direction, so it turns out that uh, there will be a force due to spring. So suppose your hand is pulling this. Okay, so your okay, so you are pulling it with your hand. So the spring will exert a force in this direction, and that force uh, is given by, let me write it, Fs is Kx. Okay, now let us try to understand it. So you want to stretch the spring will exert a force in opposite direction to bring the position back. Okay, for that reason, this spring force is also known as a restoring force. Restoring force. And in vector terms, uh, it is also written as F equal to minus kx. Now, what we mean by that? So, if you see a minus sign, force is directed opposite to x. Okay, that's what we mean. So, this negative sign comes because force is directed in opposite direction to the x, and this kx is the magnitude of the force. Now, here you can see there is a new term called k. So, numerically, k will be f by x. Now, so what is k? K is called spring constant. Okay, k is called spring constant. Spring constant. Now, how we can define the meaning of k? It is also, it can be also called stiffness in the spring. Fine. So if k is more, what will going to happen? So if, okay, let us say, if you can also see x will be equal to f by k. So now let us try to understand the meaning. So if k increases, then x will decrease. Okay, or in a word, it says that more stiff the spring, more difficult to change the length of the spring. Okay, so more is the k, more difficult will be to change the uh, length of the spring. uh, in another way, if k is less, then you can see x can be more for a given force. Okay, so this k is called spring constant. It can be also called stiffness of the spring. If it is more, then for a given force the extension will be less. Okay, now you may think where this phenomena is used. If you know, in the car or vehicle you have springs. Okay, those are called bump, means spring in the wheel. So as you drive, if the surface is uneven, the spring contracts and come back. Okay, so we use spring for, you can say, as a shock absorber. Okay, in a vehicle or in a car. So those springs are very stiff. Okay, if you have seen it. Okay, now depending on the mechanism or depending on the device, that may vary. So now let us just put one more thing. What will be unit of k? So you can see force is in Newton and x is in meter. So k unit is going to be Newton meter. Fine. Now moving on, you are going to also find a force that is called normal force. Okay, normal force, or let us also write support force sometimes. Okay, now what is that? Now see, suppose we have a surface. Okay, now let us say we have a surface or table. Fine. Now if you put a object here, let us say here, so you know that this surface will deform a bit, right? So as you put a surface, as you put a body on a surface, it will deform. Now what happens due to that deformation? The surface will exert a force perpendicular to this thing and on this body, and that we are calling it contact force. Okay, so sorry, and we are going to denote it by R. Okay, in a book it is denoted by N, but let us denote it by R. So R is the normal force. Now, who is giving that force? It is given by the surface. Okay, and it acts perpendicular to the surface. Okay, so that also we can make a point. Uh, it acts to the surface. Now, if I ask you that suppose uh, we have some surface like this, uh, let us say we have a surface like this, and we kept a body here, in which direction the contact force will act, right? So again it turns out that contact force acts perpendicular to the surface. So this is the contact. So this surface over which this block is resting will exert a force in this direction, which will be perpendicular to the surface. Okay, now it is also called support force. uh, Fine. So if I am holding, suppose this thing in my hand, so my hand is being deformed by putting this object. So my hand will exert a force in this direction on this block. That is called support force. Okay. And that is valid for anything placed on the surface. Now, uh, I miss this point that we are dealing with rigid surface. Okay. So when I mentioned this, that forces can have two different effects on an object, deformation and this acceleration. We are not talking about deformation here, right? So we are going to talk about a rigid body. Okay, so in our case we are going to talk about a rigid surface. Okay, rigid. Now what I mean by rigid, uh, for which the shape change can be ignored. So even if I have said that if you put a surface, if you put a block on a surface, it will be slightly deformed, and due to that, that contact force comes into play. But that deformation, if you deal with floor and for table and so on, that deformation can be ignored, right? So those kind of bodies which does not change shape, when we apply force, those are called rigid bodies. Okay, that is a ideal concept, but it suffice for a purpose. Like a wall can be called a rigid body, and so on. Stone can be called on a rigid body. Now, moving on, you will also uh, you're going to also see uh, what is called uh, tension force. Okay, now just like a spring force. Okay, spring force acts along the length of the spring. Okay, you can see that. So it is acting along this direction. In the same way, what happens if you take the simplest example? Let us say we are having a string and a block, right? And let us say string mass can be ignored. So what happens? You know that this mass will feel a force due to gravity, but it is stationary, it is not moving. So what happens? We say that when you deal with any connectors like chain, like rope, string, and so on, they exert a force parallel along the length of the thing, and that force is called tension. So in this case, this mass will feel a force due to gravity downward. Okay, let us say mg, and the rope will exert a force upward, and that is called tension. Okay, so this tension will act along the length of the uh, string. The same situation you can understand using a spring also. Let us say we have a spring, and as you put this mass, you know that the spring will extend due to this gravitational force. So the spring will exert a force in this direction. Okay, let me write Fs, which when we called as spring force or tension in a spring. Okay, same applies here. Now it turns out that if you take this point, okay, so you can see that point is also stationary, but that point will be under the action of tension in this direction. Okay, actually it turns out that you take any segment of the string. Okay, let us say we are taking this segment will be under action of tension always. Okay, each segment of the string will be under action of tension forces. Okay, now if mass of the string is negligible, then we can ignore the when we ignore the mass of the string, then we can say that the tension is uniform everywhere. Okay, so whenever a string is subjected to a force, it will develop tension, fine, along the length of the string, just like a spring force. Okay, now moving on. Now next force we are going to talk is uh, friction. Okay, just one line we'll talk. Now friction, it turns out it's a very complicated force. It is a contact force, right? All you agree with it, two surfaces are in contact, so it is a contact force. Now it turns out that friction opposes the relative motion between the surface in contact. Okay, so we'll just write one line. It opposes the relative motion objects. Okay, we will come to friction later, but for the time being, what I mean that suppose these are two bodies. If I move my hand in, let us say, in this direction, so what is the relative motion between the hand? What is your answer? The answer is zero. Okay, even they are moving, both are next to each other always, right? But if my hand sleeps in this direction, so relative to this hand is moving in this direction, so this hand will exert a friction in this direction. Okay, so the example what I gave you is this, that suppose this is my hand, it is moving in this direction, right? So what is going to happen, this hand will, okay, this is a motion in this direction, so this hand will exert a friction, we are writing it small f, in this direction on this hand. Okay, and we'll find out that Newton the concept of force can be easily understood, this all characteristics with help of Newton's third law. Okay, so next topic we are going to talk about is Newton's third law. Okay, fine. Okay, thank you. Please go through the whole thing and try to ask doubt in the next class. Thank you.